How does Sean Payton negate the loss of the biggest piece of this football team?
This is going to be a very, very difficult game plan for Sean Payton, knowing that Bo Nix will not be available.
Broncos Nation showed a level of energy that felt unstoppable, turning a chaotic matchup into a legendary moment that shook the entire stadium. 13 points down, pressure everywhere, and Denver still managed to claw their way to a wild, unforgettable victory that had fans roaring from coast to coast. Bills supporters are calling it robbery, but depending on who you ask, this battle came down to pure grit or unbelievable luck. The debate is heating up fast, and everyone is choosing a side as the arguments explode across social media and sports shows everywhere. The Denver Broncos pulled off a dramatic overtime win against the Buffalo Bills, and the intensity was unreal. Early in the game, it looked like Denver was cruising toward a runaway victory as momentum kept swinging their way with every possession and every defensive stop. Right before halftime, Denver charged down the field and punched in a touchdown, putting the pressure fully on Buffalo. The Bills got the ball back with only 20 to 30 seconds left, and Josh Allen tried to squeeze in some late points, but things went sideways fast as he became a little too careless with the ball. He fumbled, handing Denver another golden opportunity, and the Broncos capitalized with a long field goal that stacked up a quick 10 points before the break. In most playoff scenarios, that type of swing is absolutely devastating, especially when it happens on the road against a tough opponent.
They played really good down the stretch.
Yep.
And I know the first thing these guys are going to be doing, they're going to be working on the snap count all week. They still got Sean Payton there, scheming things up. He was in his bag last night. You had
As the second half kicked off, Denver added another field goal, jumping ahead by 13. For many teams, being down by that much against one of the strongest defenses in the league would be the final chapter. But Buffalo refused to fold under pressure. Josh Allen led a fierce comeback, driving the Bills all the way back into the fight and putting them up by 1 point. The energy shifted instantly, and the entire stadium could feel the momentum flipping in real time as the tension climbed with every snap. But the number one seed wasn't done. They showed exactly why they sit at the top of the conference as Bo Nix stepped in and delivered a cold, calculated drive down the field, pushing Denver right back into control and setting the tone for the final moments of the showdown. He puts them in position and gives his team the lead, and for a moment it feels like the story is already written. People start thinking, oh, okay, that's the end of the story. It sounds like the closing chapter, the final note, the moment when everything settles and the game locks in as a wrap. But the Buffalo Bills still have Josh Allen, the reigning MVP of the National Football League, and he refuses to let the game slip away without a fight. He pushes his team with everything he's got, dragging the matchup into overtime with pure determination and a level of intensity that left everyone stunned. This game didn't just end, it exploded with controversy. The final moments were filled with confusion and heartbreak for the Denver Broncos as momentum swung wildly in seconds. It's rare to see a team ride an emotional roller coaster like this, going from thinking they sealed the win to dealing with a twist that shook the entire stadium. They managed to secure the victory, but it came at a brutal cost as their starting quarterback was lost for the remainder of the playoffs.
But he has the experience, and I understand one thing about Sean Payton, he's very, very creative. So for me, the biggest question that I have with Sean Payton, guys, how will you generate running the football? Because actually, Bo Nix became an extension of the running game because of his athletic ability. And we know Jarrett Stidham is not the athlete that Bo Nix is. It puts more pressure on Jarrett Stidham, a guy who will be making his 5th start, if I'm not mistaken, right, JJ?
It's low, yeah.
So now for me, that's my concern. Sean, what kind of creativity can you implement in your offensive regimen to be able to run the football more successful than what you were not able to do against the Buffalo Bills? And the Buffalo Bills they've been known to give up a lot of production in the running game, but you couldn't run the football against Buffalo.
Again, Buffalo a 5.5 point,
Patriots.
Against the Patriots.
Yeah.
New England a 5.5 point favorite coming into this game. The Denver Broncos are a 5.5 point dog.
That type of blow hits harder than any scoreboard, and the atmosphere reflected it with absolute silence from the sidelines as the reality set in. You could see the weight of the situation on Sean Payton, who appeared visibly somber after the game, knowing how heavy this moment truly was. It wasn't just a win, it was the beginning of a difficult stretch that would require a completely new approach. Record scratch, Jarrett Stidham is now leading the Denver Broncos. Unfortunately for the team, It won't be the quarterback who pushed them to greatness this season, guiding them forward, which forces the coaching staff to adjust faster than anyone expected. Now the question becomes how Sean Payton will reshape the entire strategy to cover the loss of the team's biggest piece. This challenge is massive, but his creativity and experience give him an edge as he prepares a game plan built for survival under serious pressure. The biggest question left hanging in the air is simple but crucial. How will Sean Payton generate consistent production in the run game? This strategy will determine everything moving forward, and the entire football world is watching closely as the Broncos shift into their next chapter. Bo Nix became an essential extension of the run game because of his athletic ability, allowing the offense to open lanes that defenses struggled to contain. With Jared Stidham stepping in, the dynamic changes completely because he simply isn't the same type of runner, and that creates extra pressure on every snap he takes moving forward. He's stepping into a massive role for what will be his 5th start, if that information is correct, and the weight of that responsibility is no small task. The learning curve hits fast at this level, and every mistake becomes magnified when the entire offense depends on stability under center. This brings up a serious concern. What creative strategies can Sean Payton install to generate a more effective run game than what showed up against Buffalo? The Bills are known for giving up plenty of rushing production, yet Denver still couldn't find momentum on the ground, and that issue becomes even bigger now. New England enters the matchup as a 5.5-point favorite, which places the Denver Broncos as clear underdogs heading in. The spread shows how much the loss of Bo Nix shifts expectations, and it signals that the offense must deliver something new if they want a real shot at staying competitive. Bo Nix brought more than just numbers. He brought clutch plays, calm execution, and the kind of mobility that bailed out the offense multiple times throughout the season. His ability to extend plays has been underrated and underestimated, and it played a huge part in why this team reached the level it did. But when a defense is as strong as Denver's, there's already a sense of inner confidence that they can grind out wins no matter who steps in at quarterback. The mentality becomes, we can win with anybody. We can win with Jared Stidham. We can win with backups. And that belief is powerful when the pressure rises. That mindset gives the Broncos a fighting chance, even with the shift under center, and it puts the spotlight directly on how the coaching staff adapts to keep this team pushing forward with intensity and purpose. Back in 2008, the team wanted Ben Roethlisberger at quarterback, but the belief inside that locker room was strong enough to trust Dennis Dixon or Charlie Batch to step in and still give the team a real shot at winning. As long as they could put one touchdown on the board, the defense felt confident they could lock the rest down and secure the victory. That's exactly the situation Denver finds itself in right now. And for players who lived through something similar, like J.K. winning a Super Bowl with Nick Foles, the message is clear. The entire team has to step up and trust that the next man can carry the load when the starter goes down. What RC mentioned brings everything into sharp focus because it takes you right back to that exact emotional moment. The memory of Malcolm Jenkins speaking after the matchup with the Los Angeles Rams when Carson Wentz went down still hits hard. The locker room went silent and everyone felt the shock of losing a quarterback with MVP-level impact. Players were asking, what happened? We just lost our starting quarterback, MVP candidate. But the response came quick. No, we still got great players. That reminder mattered because the defense knew their strength, and even though they didn't have a perfect performance against the Patriots, they still found a way to rise when the moment demanded it. The same mentality applies here. The first thing Denver's players will focus on is tightening every detail, especially the snap count, because that timing becomes critical when a backup steps in. And they still have Sean Payton crafting the blueprint, putting together creative plays and strategic looks to keep the offense balanced and unpredictable. Last night, his play calling was sharp, layered, and full of adjustments designed to keep the Bills guessing. Meanwhile, the game itself wasn't just competitive, it was a collision. From the opening snap, it looked like Denver came out swinging with purpose, ready to knock Buffalo straight into the cold turf with pure intensity. The stadium felt like it was shaking apart as Denver played with a level of focus and edge that suggested they had something to prove. They looked angry, locked in, and determined, like a team tired of being overlooked and finally ready to take control of their own storyline. Early on, it wasn't the Broncos who looked shaky, it was the Bills, appearing as if they were seconds away from getting pushed out of their own moment. The energy shifted fast, and the pressure mounted with every play as Denver kept firing back with force. But here's the harsh truth about January football. It doesn't care about your momentum or your perfect setup. It doesn't care who had the better start or who looked sharper in the first quarter. The playoffs always remind teams that the game can flip instantly, and last night was another reminder that no lead, no vibe, and no opening surge is ever safe. January football has no mercy, and it definitely doesn't care about comfort, especially when Josh Allen is on the other side, because Allen doesn't just run an offense, he brings absolute chaos every time he touches the ball. Denver somehow survived that wave, pulling off a wild 33-30 overtime win, and even though that score is real, it still can't capture the madness that unfolded snap by snap. Right before halftime, the game didn't just shift. Denver violently snatched control and flipped the entire arena upside down. They marched down the field and dropped a touchdown that felt like a knockout punch, the type of blow that usually buries a road team in the postseason and drains every ounce of momentum from the opponent. The crowd was already erupting, but then Buffalo got the ball back with only about 20 to 30 seconds left, and Josh Allen tried to squeeze out one more highlight before the break. Instead, he got careless with the ball and fumbled, and in the playoffs, a mistake like that isn't just a slip-up, it's a straight-up disaster that flips the whole script instantly. Denver took advantage, drilled a long field goal, and suddenly pulled off a 10-point swing in the blink of an eye. 10 points just vanished from Buffalo's pockets, and the emotional impact hit like a hammer. The type of momentum shift that cracks a team mentally, the kind people call a backbreaker or a curtain call because the vibe collapses so fast. Right out of halftime, Denver added another 3 points, stretching the lead to 13 on the road against one of the top defenses in the entire league. For most teams, that's the part where the slow fade begins, where everyone starts bracing for a disappointing ending as the game slips through their hands. But Buffalo isn't most teams, and they don't quit because they have Josh Allen, a quarterback who refuses to go down quiet even when everything is stacked against him. Denver had the Bills wobbling, but Buffalo didn't fall. They came back swinging like a squad possessed, fighting every inch with attitude and stubborn belief. Being down 13 against a defense built to shut teams down usually forces opponents into panic mode, but Buffalo didn't fold, didn't freeze, and didn't start looking toward next season. Instead, Josh Allen kept firing, some plays clean, some messy, some fueled by pure grit, but every single one kept Buffalo alive and pushed the game back into chaos. Bit by bit, Denver's lead started leaking away until Buffalo did the unthinkable. They fought their way all the way back and took a 1-point lead. In that moment, it felt like Denver's story was about to crumble into the usual heartbreak, the type where fans stare at the screen like it turned on them. But then Bo Nix stepped up and answered with ice in his veins. He drove the Broncos down the field, set them up perfectly, and Denver snatched the lead right back when it mattered most. The entire stadium exploded, and you could almost feel Buffalo's stomach drop as the momentum flipped again with a loud, emotional punch. It felt like the closing chapter, the moment you say, okay, that's it, that's all she wrote. But then came the wild, confusing moment on the broadcast with the line repeating over and over, 1 to friend and a sent friend, 1 to friend, 1 to friend to friend, 1 to friend, 1 friend to friend, 1 to friend. The repetition only added to the chaos of the night. You could see the impact written all over Sean Payton afterward. Not anger or excuses, just that quiet, heavy stare of someone running calculations in real time and not liking any of the results. Losing the centerpiece of the offense right before the conference title matchup forces a complete reset, because replacing that type of player isn't possible. You have to rebuild the entire blueprint from scratch. That leads straight to the toughest question of the week. What does Denver look like when the backup has to take full control of the entire operation? The Broncos enter the AFC Championship with the roughest kind of victory hangover imaginable because the team is still standing, but the quarterback who carried them here is not. Bo Nix is out, and now it's Jared Stidham stepping into the spotlight. And let's be real, the phrase next man up sounds strong until your season is hanging by a thread and the next man hasn't thrown a meaningful NFL pass since 2023. That isn't just a statistic, it's a warning signal for a team shifting into survival mode under the brightest lights of the year. Sean Payton now has to redesign the offense with limited tools because Bo Nix wasn't just throwing the football, he was extending plays with his mobility, acting as a moving piece of the run game and forcing defenses to freeze every time he rolled out. Stidham doesn't bring that same mobility, which shrinks Denver's margin for error dramatically and forces them to operate with precision under extreme pressure. With fewer improvisational plays, fewer broken coverages, and more predictable snaps, The offense now has to execute like a machine in a matchup where one mistake could flip the entire game. Nick Foss tried to lighten the mood by offering a sarcastic lifeline, pointing out that the Patriots have a history of getting surprised by backup quarterbacks in big moments, and while the comment was entertaining, history doesn't slow down a blitz or stop a collapsing pocket. Denver added emergency depth with Ben DiNucci on the practice squad, and he came in talking Super Bowl as casually as if it were a regular weekday. The energy is appreciated, but the main storyline remains clear. This team's future now rests on defense, discipline, and the layers of creativity Sean Payton can build into a brand new game plan. Denver rolls into the next battle with a backup steering the ship and a defense that has to drag the story forward with everything it has. If they want to keep this season alive, every snap, every read, and every defensive stand must hit with absolute precision and hunger.